welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Sunday, November 4th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap all the college football action from yesterday, go over NBA and NHL action from yesterday, look ahead to today's NFL games, and I'll close the podcast by doing the You Can Bank on It. Yesterday did not go well. The lone game that I was incorrect on that was Minnesota, but we'll get more into that once I get to that segment. All right, for real, the college football games. I'm going to go through all of them really quick. Auburn defeated number 20 Texas A&M 28-24. Not surprised. Auburn goes to 6-3. A&M drops to 5-4. South Carolina defeats Ole Miss 48-44. South Carolina, much needed win, goes to 5-3. Ole Miss drops to 5-4. Wisconsin defeats Rutgers 31-17, so a little bit closer than the experts thought it was going to be. Wisconsin goes to 6-3. Rutgers drops to 1-8. Michigan State defeats Maryland 24-3. I was proven right about Maryland in this one, but I didn't think it was going to be this low scoring. Michigan State goes to 6-3. Maryland drops to 5-4. Baylor defeats Oklahoma State 35-31. I was correct here too. Baylor goes to 5-4. Oklahoma State drops to 5-4. So Baylor's a win away from bowl eligibility, and Matt Rule deserves a lot of credit for that. 24, Iowa State defeats Kansas 27-3. Good win for Matt Campbell. Take care of business. They're 5-3. Kansas drops to 3-6. Number 2, Clemson defeats Louisville 77-16. That is just a whooping. They're 9-0. Louisville's a mess at 2-7. Number 19, Syracuse defeats Wake Forest 41-24. Impressive win for the Orange. I thought this was a trap game for them. They proved me wrong. They're 7-2. Wake is 4-5. Number 10, Ohio State defeats Nebraska 36-31. Another close win for the Buckeyes. They're 8-1. Nebraska is 2-7. Army defeats Air Force 17-14. I was surprised that this game was close and low scoring. Army 7-2. Air Force is 3-6. Memphis defeats East Carolina 59-41. 100 points in this game combined between the two teams. Memphis is 5-4. Much needed win for them. ECU drops to 2-6. Eastern Michigan defeats Central Michigan 17-7. Eastern Michigan goes to 5-5. Central Michigan drops to 1-9. Eastern Michigan is a win away from bowl eligibility. Georgia Tech defeats North Carolina 38-28. They avoid the trap as they go to 5-4. UNC is 1-7. Texas State defeats Georgia State 40-31. Texas State goes to 3-6. Georgia State goes to 2-7. Wyoming defeats San Jose State 24-9. Wyoming's 4-6. San Jose State is 1-8. Southern Miss upsets Marshall 26-24. I was correct on that one. Much needed win for the Golden Eagles as they go to 4-4. Marshall's 5-3. Arkansas State defeats South Alabama 38-14. Much needed win for Arkansas State as they go to 5-4. South Alabama drops to 2-7. UL Monroe defeats Georgia Southern 44-25. UL Monroe goes to 5-4. Georgia Southern drops to 7-2. Much needed win for UL Monroe and an overdue loss for Georgia Southern. Number 6, Georgia defeats number 9, Kentucky 34-17. Impressive win for the Bulldogs as they go to 8-1. Kentucky drops to 7-2. In what was the most entertaining game of yesterday, number 13, West Virginia defeats number 17, Texas 42-41. Great win for Dana Holgorsen and the Mountaineers. They went for 2 for the win as Will Grier threw the 33-yard touchdown pass to Gary Jennings with 16 seconds left. They go for 2, and Will Grier runs in the 2-point conversion. They go to 7-1. Texas drops to 6-3. The Mountaineers are definitely still in this college football playoff mix. Illinois upsets Minnesota 55-31. This, as I said, was the lone game. I was wrong in the You Can Bank on It parlay. Minnesota did not do the job to win me the money. So they hurt my feelings a little bit as they dropped to 4-5. And Illinois improves to 4-5. You got to hand it to Lovie Smith. They're 2 wins away from a bowl. Maybe he saved his job with that game. Purdue defeats Iowa 38-36. I should say number 16th ranked Iowa. Purdue goes to 5-4. Iowa drops to 6-3. Purdue's a win away from bowl eligibility. TCU defeats Kansas State 14-13. Didn't expect this to be low scoring. I did pick Kansas State to throw the outright upset or pull the outright upset off. As TCU goes to 4-5, Kansas State drops to 3-6. Number 21, NC State defeats Florida State 47-28. As NC State goes to 6-2, Florida State drops to 4-5. UMass defeats Liberty 62-39 in triple overtime. This was a wild one. As UMass goes to 4-6, Liberty drops to 4-4. UTEP defeats Rice 34-26. As UTEP finally gets a win as they go to 1-8, Rice drops to 1-9. Cincinnati defeats Navy 42-0. Impressive win for the Bearcats as they go to 8-1. Navy drops to 2-7 and is no longer bowl eligible. Tulane defeats South Florida 41-15. Impressive win for Tulane as they go to 4-5. USF drops to 7-2. Troy defeats Louisiana 26-16. Troy goes to 7-2. UL Lafayette drops to 4-5. Number 5, Michigan defeats number 14, Penn State 42-7. Impressive win for the Wolverines as their season theme of revenge tour continues as they go to 8-1. Penn State drops to 6-3. Michigan, in all likelihood, will be in the top 4 come next week. We'll get to the Bama LSU game in a minute. Number 22, Boston College defeats Virginia Tech 31-21. Impressive win for Boston College. And courtesy of that, they host game day next week as they go to Chestnut Hill for their matchup against Clemson. And they're also the Saturday primetime game as well. BC goes to 7-2. Virginia Tech drops to 4-4. Missouri defeats number 11, Florida 38-17. Impressive win for Missouri as they go to 5-4. They're 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Florida drops to 6-3. Tennessee defeats Charlotte 14-3. As Tennessee goes to 4-5, Charlotte drops to 4-5. Tennessee just needs 2 more wins to become bowl eligible. Arizona State upsets number 15 Utah 38-20. This was an upset I was correct on as the Sun Devils go to 5-4. Utah drops to 6-3. New Mexico State defeats Alcorn 52-42 as the Aggies go to 3-7. Alcorn State drops to 7-3. Appalachian State defeats Coastal Carolina 23-7. App State goes to 6-2. Coastal Carolina drops to 5-4. Duke defeats Miami 20-12. This was an upset I was right on the podcast as they go to 6-3. Miami drops to 5-4. Miami loses out. They might not even make a bowl game. They only need 1 more to get a bowl. Well, I'll tell you what, Mark Richt is certainly on the hot seat now. Tulsa defeats UConn 49-19. Tulsa goes to 2-7. UConn drops to 1-8. SMU upsets Houston 45-31. Impressive win for the Ponies as they go to 4-5. Houston drops to 7-2. I almost picked the Ponies out right on the podcast on Friday, but I didn't have the guts to do it. But the Ponies are 2 wins away from bowl eligibility. And Houston, in all likelihood, will probably still make the conference title game. But that was not a good performance by them. Number 4, Notre Dame defeats Northwestern 31-21. They needed an Ian Book rushing touchdown to put this one away late as they go to 9-0. Northwestern drops to 5-4. Number 18, Mississippi State defeats Louisiana Tech 45-3. Good win for Mississippi State as they go to 6-3. La Tech drops to 6-3. Oregon defeats UCLA 42-21 and Chip Kelly's return to Autzen Stadium as they improve to 6-3. UCLA drops to 2-7. FAU defeats FIU 49-14. Impressive win for Florida Atlantic, their best one of the year. Much needed win to stay alive in bowl eligibility as they go to 4-5. FIU drops to 6-3. UAB defeats UTSA 52-3. Impressive win for the Blazers as they go to 8-1. UTSA drops to 3-6. Number 1, Alabama defeats number 3, LSU 29-0. Impressive win for Nick Saban and company as they go to 9-0, or I should say as they roll to 9-0. And LSU drops to 7-2 And now questions are abound about Ed Orgeron and LSU, and you're going to be hearing all that again. Trust me. Number 7, Oklahoma defeats Texas Tech 51-46. Oklahoma goes to 8-1. Texas Tech drops to 5-4. Washington defeats Stanford 27-23. Washington goes to 7-3. Stanford drops to 5-4. USC defeats Oregon State 38-21. USC goes to 5-4. Oregon drops to 2-7. Boise State defeats BYU 21-16. Boise goes to 7-2. BYU drops to 4-5. San Diego State defeats New Mexico 31-23. This was a closer game than the experts thought, as San Diego State goes to 7-2. New Mexico drops to 3-6. Number 23, Fresno State kills UNLV 48-3. And another great win for Fresno as they go to 8-1. UNLV drops to 2-7. Number 8, Washington State defeats Cal 19-13 as Washington State keeps their slim playoff hopes alive as they go to 8-1. Cal drops to 5-4. Utah State defeats Hawaii 56-17 as Utah State improves 8-1. Hawaii drops to 6-5. NBA from last night. There's about 8 or 9 games on the slate. There's 8. Sixers defeat the Pistons 109-99 as Philly goes to 5-4. Detroit drops to 4-4. Joel Embiid was phenomenal, 39 points, 17 boards. JJ Redick off the bench had 16. Landry Shamet off the bench had 11. Mike Muscala off the bench had 14. Blake Griffin, 38 points, 13 boards, 6 assists. Langston Galloway had 13 off the bench. The Hornets defeat the Cavs 126-94. So much dysfunction with the Cavs as they fall to 1-8. Charlotte goes to 5-5. Much needed win for Charlotte. Kemba Walker, 18 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Jeremy Lamb had 19 points and 8 boards. Malik Monk off the bench had 16. Tony Parker off the bench had 12. Willie Hernan-Gomez off the bench had 11 and 7. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist off the bench had 10. Miles Bridges off the bench had 12. Sam Decker had 11. Jordan Clarkson off the bench had 13. J.R. Smith off the bench had 14. Kyle Korver off the bench had 11. The Pacers defeated the Celtics 102-101 on a game-winning three-pointer by Victor Oladipo with 3.4 seconds remaining as Indy goes to 7-3. Boston drops to 6-3. Really good win for Indiana. Talked about Oladipo a second ago. 24 points, 12 boards, 3 assists. Miles Turner had 12. Bogdanovich had 16. Tyreek Evans off the bench had 17. Domantas Sabonis off the bench had 12. Al Horford and Jason Tatum had 14 apiece. Kyrie Irving had 18 points and 6 boards. Marcus Morris off the bench had 23. The Hawks defeated the Heat 123-118. A real nice win for Atlanta. Maybe they caught Miami looking ahead a little bit. As they go to 3-6, Miami drops to 3-5. Trae Young had 24 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds. Taurean Prince had 15. Alex Len had 11. Kent Bazemore had 10. Kevin Huerter off the bench had 12. Dwayne Dedmon off the bench had 15. Vince Carter off the bench had 12. Josh Richardson had 32. Justice Winslow had a nice game. 15 points, 10 boards, 8 assists. 2 assists shy of a triple-double. Maybe he's coming into his own. Ronnie McGruder had 18. Dwayne Wade off the bench had 19. Tyler Johnson off the bench had 17. The Rockets defeated the Bulls 96-88. Another much-needed win for the Houston Rockets as they go to 3-5. Chicago drops to 2-8. James Harden's back. He had 25 points and 7 assists. Clint Capella had a double-double, 12 and 12. James Ennis had 15. Carmelo Anthony off the bench had 17 points and 7 boards. Zach LaVine had 21 points, 4 boards, 4 assists. Wendell Carter Jr. had 14 points and 13 boards. Jabari Parker had 15. Chandler Hutchinson off the bench had 12. The Spurs defeated the Pelicans 109-95. Another good win for San Antonio as they go to 6-2. New Orleans drops to 4-5. DeMar DeRozan had 26 points. LaMarcus Aldridge had a nice game, 22 points, 12 boards, 6 assists. Dante Cunningham had 15 points and 7 boards. Patty Mills off the bench had 15 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. Marco Bellinelli had 14. Drew Holiday had 29 with 8 assists. Anthony Davis had 17 points and 8 boards. Nikola Mirotic had 22 points and 16 boards. Etuan Moore had 11. Julius Randle had 10 off the bench. The Nuggets defeat the Jazz 103-88 as the Nuggets go to 8-1. Utah drops to 4-5. Gary Harris had 20. Jamal Murray had 19. Paul Millsap had 13. Malik Beasley had 12 off the bench. Donovan Mitchell, in his first game back from injury, he still looked banged up in that game. 16 points on 7 for 22 shooting, so you could tell he's not healthy. Derek Favors had 12. Rudy Gobert had 12. Ricky Rubio had 11. Jay Crowder had 21 off the bench. There's 4 3-pointers. The Lakers defeated the Blazers 114-110. Another much-needed win for LeBron James and company as they go to 4-5. Portland drops to 6-3. LeBron James, 28 points, 5 boards, 7 assists. Kyle Kuzma, 12.6 boards. JaVale McGee, 12 points, 9 boards. Rajon Rondo off the bench, 17 points, 10 boards, 6 assists. Josh Hart had 11 off the bench. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum have had 30 each. Jusuf Nurkic had 14 points and 13 boards. Zach Collins off the bench had 10. Evan Turner off the bench had 11. Today's slate, at 3:30 you have the Kings Bucks, 6 o'clock Knicks Wizards, 76ers Nets, 7 o'clock Magic Spurs, 8 o'clock Grizzlies Suns, 9 o'clock Timberwolves Trailblazers, 9:30 Raptors Lakers. That's a nice one from Los Angeles. Let's see if that's on NBA TV, because I really hope it is as a basketball fan. No, NBA game time's on, so they'll probably cut into all the games throughout the night. But that is the best one on the slate, certainly. And it could be a big spot for LeBron and the Lakers to get back to 500. I am fascinated for that game. And there's the Kawhi versus LeBron storyline, too. Hockey. Big slate yesterday. The Sabres killed the Senators 9-2. Jeez. Impressive win for Buffalo as they go to 7-5-2. Ottawa drops to 5-6-2. Number 1 star of the game with 2 goals and assists, Jason Pominville. Number 2 star of the game with 2 goals and assists, Jeff Skinner. The number 3 star of the game with 3 assists, Jack Eichel. The Lightning defeated the Canadiens 4-1. Good win for Tampa Bay, especially with Montreal overachieving early in the season. They go to 9-3-1. Montreal drops to 7-4-2. The number 1 star of the game with 34 saves on 35 shots, Andrei Vasilevsky. The number 2 star of the game with 2 goals, Steven Stamkos. And the number 3 star of the game with 3 assists, Anton Strawman. The Oilers defeat the Red Wings 4-3. Good win for Edmonton. Detroit was playing a little bit better as they go to 8-4-1. Detroit drops to 4-8-2. The number 1 star of the game with 2 assists, Connor McDavid. The number 2 star of the game with the goal, Jacob De La Rose. And the number 3 star of the game with 2 goals, Kyle Brodziak. The Islanders defeat the Devils 3-0. Good win for the Islanders as they continue their surprise start. They're 8-4-1. First place in the Metro Division, by the way. Devils dropped to 5-5-1. Somebody said on Twitter yesterday that the Islanders look like this year's Devils. I'm sorry, the Devils from last year. That's a nice comparison. We'll see how the season finishes out. But to me, the key there is that they have to have somebody on their roster have the best year of their career. Because that was the argument for the Devils with Taylor Hall. Who's the Taylor Hall of this year? I don't see it on this roster yet. But you could argue that Thomas Greiss is this year's Keith Kincaid, as he was the number 1 star of the game with 35 saves on 35 shots. Brock Nelson, number 2 star with the goal. Number 3 star of the game with the goal, Jordan Eberle. The Maple Leafs defeat the Penguins 5-0. Impressive win for them in Pittsburgh as they go to 9-5. Pittsburgh drops to 6-3-3. Number one star of the game with 2 goals, Morgan Rielly. The number 2 star of the game with 31 saves on 31 shots, Frederick Anderson. Number 3 star of the game with a goal and assist, John Tavares. The Stars defeat the Capitals 4-3 in overtime. Impressive win for Dallas as they go to 8-5. Washington drops to 5-4-3. Number one star of the game with a goal, Jason Dickinson. And that was the overtime winner, too. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and assist, Jason Spezza. Number 3 star of the game with a goal and assist, Nicholas Backstrom. The Wild defeat the Blues 5-1. Impressive win for Minnesota as they go to 8-3-2. St. Louis drops to 4-5-3. Mike Yeo is certainly a strong candidate for the first coach fired. The number 1 star of the game with the goal and 2 assists, Nick Seeler. The number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Jordan Greenway. And the number 3 star of the game with the goal, Matt Dumba. The Predators defeat the Bruins 1-0. That's an impressive win for Nashville as they go to 11-3. Boston drops to 7-4-2. Number 1 star of the game with 26 saves on 26 shots, Pekka Rinne. 2 games back from injury and 2 fantastic games. Number 2 star of the game with the goal, Roman Josi. Number 3 star of the game with an assist, Nick Bonino. The Flames defeat the Blackhawks 5-3. The Flames go to 9-5-1. Chicago drops to 6-6-3. Good win for Calgary. Number 1 star of the game with 2 goals, Sean Monahan. Number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Johnny Gaudreau. Number 3 star of the game with a goal, Matt Tkachuk. The Golden Knights defeat the Hurricanes 3-0. Good win for Vegas as they go to 6-7-1. Carolina drops to 6-6-2. Number 1 star of the game with 34 saves on 34 shots, Marc-Andre Fleury. 50 career shutouts for him now. The number 2 star of the game with the goal, Brad Hunt. Number 3 star of the game with the goal, William Carrier. The Kings defeat the Blue Jackets 4-1 as the Kings go to 4-8-1. Columbus drops to 7-6. Number 1 star of the game with a goal and assist, Jeff Carter. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, Dustin Brown. Number 3 star of the game with 26 saves on 27 shots, Jack Campbell. The Sharks defeat the Flyers 4-3 in overtime as San Jose gets a much-needed win, 7-4-3 now. Philly drops to 6-7-1. Number 1 star of the game with 2 goals, including the overtime winner, Timo Meier. Number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Kevin LeBlanc. And the number 3 star of the game with the goal, Joe Thornton. Today's slate. Only 3 games. 7 o'clock, Sabres-Rangers. This feels like a letdown spot for Buffalo. First time the Rangers are favored in the game all year. Unbelievable. Lightning-Senators, also a 7 o'clock game. Second of a back-to-back for Tampa Bay, so I wouldn't rule out an upset there for Ottawa. And the 9 o'clock game is Blue Jackets-Ducks. Jackets have been up and down on the road trip. Ducks in much need of a win. So that should be interesting. NFL slate today. I'm going to go through all the games that are being played today, and I'll give you what I'm looking forward to seeing in each game. You have the Bears and the Bills. Bears. Is this a look-ahead spot? Buffalo. They've been competitive for the most part at home. This is the same question in terms of the Bears, except this is you making a case for the Bears looking ahead. Is Buffalo competitive yet again at home? Buccaneers-Panthers. Can Fitzmagic do it again? Carolina. Will they continue to look like the sleeping giant in the NFC? Chiefs-Browns. Will the Chiefs take care of business on the road? Because they've had some close calls on the road. They lost to New England. They barely beat Denver. But the Browns are not as good as the Broncos or the Patriots. Or you could argue the Broncos, but the Broncos just got up for that game because it was a Monday nighter division rival. But Denver was playing better at the time. And then Cleveland. How will they respond to new interim head coach Greg Williams. Jets Dolphins. These teams have always played crazy games through years, and sometimes they're blowouts. Jets. Will they put together another dud or another good performance? They had one good road performance this year. As we all know, it was the Monday Nighter in Detroit, and then the rest of their road games have been duds. Miami. Do they look past a team at home again? We saw that with the Lions, although the Lions were favored in that game, so maybe that doesn't really count. But they took advantage of the Bears looking past them. And they're a dog in that game, but they're favored. Maybe they're just better as a dog, but today we'll learn more about the Miami Dolphins and the direction of their season. They're 4-4. They're a team to watch today. In my favorite game of the early slate, Steelers-Ravens. Will the Steelers get their revenge and get a win against Baltimore to take control of the AFC North? Baltimore, will they snap their schneid? They've lost 2 straight. And John Harbaugh is on the hot seat, according to some reports out there. Will they snap their little losing skid and get a big win over their division opponent? Lions-Vikings, the Lions. They never usually play well in Minnesota. So maybe they catch the Vikings looking ahead a little bit, maybe not, but I just can't see that happening. But my question for them is, how do they respond after the trading of Golden Tate, especially, really on the offensive end? The addition of Damon Harrison, it's a we'll see for them. And for the Vikings, will they take care of business after getting a disappointing loss at home against the Saints last Sunday night? And how will Kirk Cousins respond? And Adam Thielen with the rare fumble. Falcons-Redskins is the last one of the 1 o'clock slate. Atlanta, this is a big spot for them. Can they get back to 500 with the road win in Washington? I think they can go toe-to-toe with them with points. But I'd give the defensive edge to the Washington Redskins. And my question for Washington is, do they look past the Falcons? I'm going to say they don't. They're unbeaten at home this year. And I did pick the Redskins on Friday's podcast. The late afternoon games, you have the Texans and the Broncos. How does Demaryius Thomas respond after his trade playing his former team in his former building? Is my question for Houston. I'm interested to see how he looks in that offense. And then my question for Denver is, how much touches does Courtland Sutton get after the training of Demaryius Thomas? And how much does Emmanuel Sanders see as well? Chargers-Seahawks is a sneaky, very good game. Los Angeles, how do they get the job done in a tough environment? I picked Seattle to win this game. The Chargers have not beaten a good team this year. So this is a big spot for them. And this is a big spot for Anthony Lynn. I think there's going to be some chatter about Anthony Lynn if they lose a close one here. Even if they lose, period, then there's going to be questions about Anthony Lynn. Question for Seattle is this little run for real? They had that impressive win in Detroit last week. And they had that London win, but the Raiders are just so bad. So that win really doesn't mean much now. But this is a big spot for Seattle, too, to prove themselves a contender, or at least a playoff contender in the NFC. And the game of the year in the NFL so far, Rams at the Saints. Cooper Kupp is back for the Rams. And I'm interested to see Brandon Cooks in his little revenge game against his former team. So that's something to keep an eye on. This is his second revenge game against the Saints. Because don't forget, he was on the Patriots last year. And the Patriots played in New Orleans last year and he had a big game. And my question for the Saints is, how do they handle a big game in their home building with this core? I know Drew Brees has experienced many of these, and they got a big road win on Sunday night last week, which I think is going to boost their confidence, and that's why I really like the Saints here. Even if they lost that Vikings game, I'd pick them here, because just the thought of Drew Brees in his home building should be a Saints win. But they did lose to Tampa earlier in the year, but that was earlier in the year when Fitzmagic was on a roll, and the Saints really weren't playing on the defensive side of the ball. Their play on the defensive side has improved, and I really like their chances to pull off the upset. And this is a big measuring stick game for the Saints defense to prove whether it really is improved or not. I know they showed me something on Sunday night with a couple of those big turnovers in that Vikings game that led them to that win. And then tonight, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers against Tom Brady and the Patriots. This is Aaron Rodgers' first game at Gillette Stadium, because don't forget, when the Packers played there 8 years ago, Rodgers was hurt and Matt Flynn started. Matt Flynn, I remember, threw on the Patriots, but the Patriots still won that game. But how does Aaron Rodgers respond to what I think is the best home field advantage in the NFL in primetime? Yeah, that home field can be vulnerable at times, but I shouldn't really say the best home field, but you can make a case it's certainly the most intimidating, although Arrowhead has something to say about that. Seattle has something to say about that. But, yeah. How does Aaron Rodgers respond to it? I think he will keep the Packers in the game for a while, but I do think this will result in a double-digit win for the Pats, as I predicted on the podcast on Friday. And then the Patriots, will this be another ho-hum, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick do it again, or will this be an egg lay, like they laid an egg against the Chiefs in primetime last year in the opener? But I just thought that was just a weird game in the opener, and Kareem Hunt went wild on them. But the Patriots are still the Patriots, and I expect them to come out and play really well tonight. And I think Tom Brady's going to be motivated because everybody's saying that Aaron Rodgers is better than him. And Aaron Rodgers is probably more talented than Tom Brady at this point of their careers, but I think Tom Brady has a big chip on his shoulder tonight to prove some people that he's the GOAT. And we'll talk about the Monday night game on tomorrow's podcast. And before I go, I'm going to do my You Can Bank On It, sponsored by DraftKings. Yesterday I lost. And that was a bad one because only one of these teams didn't hit. I had Ohio State. This is all money line, by the way. Ohio State, NC State, Georgia, Minnesota is where I lost. They got blown out by Illinois. They were caught looking ahead a little bit. Michigan, Notre Dame, Alabama, Oklahoma, the 76ers, and the Hornets. I got 9 for 10. And if I picked somebody else instead of Minnesota, let's say if I picked, too bad Clemson wasn't an option, or else I would have picked them. Another interesting selection would have been an underdog like a Duke, and I would have taken a chance with them or something. Then I would have won some big bucks there. But anyway, today I have for you a 5-team moneyline parlay. The Chiefs over the Browns. The Bears over the Bills. I'm going to hold my breath at that one. The Vikings over the Lions. The Panthers over the Bucks. And the Steelers over the Ravens. These are the best 5 early games I feel the best about. I didn't have the balls to put the Dolphins in there. The Chiefs are the only one to me that was a shoo-in to be in this. I didn't trust the Redskins enough to be in this. And that's it, because there's 7 early games. So I took $1, and it was plus 537 to pay out at 637. So that's it for the podcast today. I'll be going over all the football games from today and looking ahead to the Monday night game between the Cowboys and Titans. Go over any other news that happens in the NFL, talk a little NBA and NHL. Don't forget, I do the college football power rankings on Tuesdays now because of the college football playoff. And then tomorrow night I'm doing a special college basketball predictions podcast as that season begins on Tuesday. I hope you guys have a great day.